Somewhere in rural America, a solid three-bedroom home can still cost less than a new pickup truck. It may come with several acres, a workshop, mature trees, a barn, or even river frontage. The yearly property tax might be lower than 1 month of rent in a major city. Yet many of these homes remain for sale, while buyers continue fighting over much smaller properties elsewhere. The low prices are real, but they are not random. Across parts of the Mississippi Delta Appalachia, the Missouri Ozarks, and the western high desert entire counties have been losing residents for decades. Industries disappeared, hospitals closed, schools consolidated, and younger families moved toward places with stronger job markets. The houses remained, but the demand did not. That creates opportunities for retirees, remote workers, homesteaders, and anyone who values land more than convenience. It also creates risks that a beautiful listing photo will never show. Today, we are looking at 10 American counties where surprisingly affordable rural homes can still be found. Some offer acreage workshops, barns, fruit trees, and beautiful scenery. Others come with serious questions about healthcare, employment, flooding insurance, resale value, and isolation. One property near the end includes horse infrastructure beneath the enormous Nevada sky. Another sits in a Kentucky mountain hollow with room to build a second home. But first, we begin in Mississippi, where rich farmland and decades of population loss have created prices that can feel almost impossible. Noxubee County sits in east-central Mississippi, in a region known for its dark and fertile black belt soil. The landscape is a mixture of pine woods, open fields, creek bottoms, and quiet country roads. It is the kind of place where a buyer can find more land and more usable outbuildings than the same budget would purchase in most growing suburbs. One example involved a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home built in 1989, with approximately 2,300 square feet. The property included about 2.5 acres, established fruit trees, several outbuildings, and a workshop with a poured concrete floor. At an asking price around $187,000, the package offered more than just a house. It offered space for repairing equipment, storing tools, gardening, woodworking, or building a small hobby farm. The location also made the property more interesting than many rural Mississippi listings. It was roughly 15 to 20 minutes from Starkville, home of Mississippi State University. That proximity provides access to grocery stores, medical care restaurants, and a more active economy than buyers would find deeper inside the county. But the larger county still carries significant economic challenges. Noxubee County has lost a substantial portion of its population as agriculture became more mechanized and local employment declined. A buyer should not expect a strong resale market or abundant nearby jobs. For a retiree or remote worker, however, the calculation may be different. The house does not need to be near a major employment center if the owner already has an income. What matters more may be the workshop, the acreage, the peaceful setting, and the ability to reach Starkville when necessary. The next county offers even more dramatic mountain scenery, but its population decline has been far more severe. McDowell County, West Virginia, was once powered by coal. At its peak, the county supported busy communities, department stores, theaters, schools, and thousands of mining families. Today, fewer than 20,000 people remain in a county that once held around 100,000. The mountains are still beautiful, rivers follow the valleys, forested ridges rise sharply above the roads, and houses are often surrounded by the type of Appalachian scenery that would command a premium in a more prosperous region. A property in Welch showed what roughly $188,000 could purchase. It offered more than 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 full bathrooms, hardwood flooring, a finished family room in the basement, an attached carport, a utility shed, and a heated oversized 2-car garage. 5 combined lots created approximately 3 acres of land. The flat yard was especially valuable because usable level ground can be difficult to find in steep mountain terrain. The garage could serve as a serious workshop, vehicle storage area, or space for a small home-based business. Yet the low price reflects more than geography. McDowell County has struggled with shrinking services, limited employment, healthcare access, and continued population loss. The coal economy that created these communities will not return in its old form. Someone with a remote income might see tremendous value: a large house, multiple lots, a heated garage, and mountain views for less than many suburban starter homes. Someone who depends on nearby employers or frequent specialist healthcare may see a much harder life. This is the central tension behind rural real estate. The property itself may be excellent, while the surrounding economy may be the reason it is affordable. From the coal fields, we move west to one of the most scenic and isolated parts of the Missouri Ozarks. Shannon County is home to clear, spring-fed rivers, dense forests, state parks, hiking trails, and some of Missouri's most impressive natural landscapes. The Current River and 11-Point River draw visitors for fishing, kayaking, and floating. Wild horses can still be seen near Eminence, the small county seat. One listing demonstrated how unusual the numbers can become in a place this remote. The home was built in 2019 and sat on just over 6 acres. It included 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, central air-electric heat, a laundry room, a metal roof, and a 1-car garage. The asking price was approximately $219,900. The most surprising number was the reported property tax, about $459 per year. For a newer home on more than 6 acres, that annual tax bill is exceptionally low. The house was also set back from a paved road offering privacy, without requiring the owner to travel several miles down an unmaintained dirt route. For an outdoors-focused retiree, this could be close to ideal. The owner could spend mornings fishing, afternoons working on the land, and evenings surrounded by Ozark quiet. The metal roof and newer construction may also reduce some of the maintenance uncertainty that comes with older farmhouses. But Shannon County has fewer than 8,000 residents spread across a very large area. There is no major hospital within the county, and many services require a long drive. Employment opportunities are limited, and the population continues to age and decline. The same isolation that protects the scenery also restricts access to healthcare, shopping, contractors, and emergency services. Before buying, a person should test the internet connection, calculate the actual drive to medical care, verify well and septic conditions, and visit during more than one season. If Shannon County offers wilderness and privacy, the next location offers something entirely different, one of the most important musical histories in America. Coahoma County, Mississippi, is closely connected to the birth of the blues. Clarksdale attracts music fans from around the world, and the city's cultural importance is far greater than its population might suggest. The Delta Blues Museum, live music venues, and the famous intersection of highways 61 and 49 continue to bring visitors into town. Outside Clarksdale, a ranch-style home built in 1973 was offered for approximately $135,000. It included 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, nearly 1,800 square feet, and about 1.6 acres. The roof had already been replaced, which could save a buyer from one of the largest immediate expenses associated with an older house. The home also featured an open connection between the living area, dining space, and kitchen, along with a covered rear deck overlooking a large yard. It was located around 9 miles outside town, providing rural space, while remaining close enough for groceries, restaurants, and local events. This property could appeal to a buyer who wants affordable land without complete isolation. The blues tourism economy gives Clarksdale a cultural energy that many towns of a similar size do not have. However, Coahoma County has experienced long-term population decline and persistent poverty. Mechanized agriculture eliminated many of the jobs that once supported Delta communities. Buyers should be cautious about assuming the home will appreciate quickly or sell easily later. A low purchase price can reduce monthly expenses, but it does not automatically create a strong investment. For someone who genuinely wants to live there, the house may offer excellent personal value. For someone planning to renovate and resell quickly, the limited buyer pool could become a major obstacle. After 4 properties, the difference between cheap and valuable should be becoming clearer. The best deal is not necessarily the home with the lowest price. It may be the property that balances affordability with healthcare, road access, community, and long-term usability. That is what makes the next West Virginia property stand out. Randolph County lies in the Allegheny Highlands, where forested mountains, cold rivers, and higher elevations create cooler summers and serious winters. Elkins, the county seat, offers a hospital, restaurants, a college, and a stronger service base than many rural Appalachian towns. A property near the community of Helvetia was listed around $229,900. The home was built in 1977 and included 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, nearly 200 square feet on the main floor, and a full unfinished basement. The basement could become a workshop, storage area, recreation room, or future living space. The property covered approximately 5 acres and included mature timber open fields, established fruit trees, a usable barn, and access near the Buchanan River. The house had a metal roof, double-pane windows, a modern heat pump, a wood-burning stove, and a spacious, accessible deck. Its reported property tax was only around $262 per year. Helvetia adds another layer of appeal. Founded by Swiss and German immigrants, the community has maintained distinctive traditions, festivals, food, and music. It is not simply a group of scattered houses. It has an identity that residents have actively protected. For a homesteader, the barn and open ground could support animals or equipment. For a retiree, the accessible design and proximity to Elkins may make the location more practical than deeper parts of Appalachia. For a remote worker, the basement could become a serious workspace, although internet service should be verified before making any commitment. The trade-off is winter weather and isolation. Mountain roads, snow heating costs, and long drives must all be considered. But compared with counties that have lost both population and community institutions, Randolph County may offer one of the more balanced opportunities on this list. The next property is less picturesque, but its price may be even harder to ignore. Pemiscot County occupies Missouri's southeastern Bootheel, a flat agricultural region bordered by Arkansas and Tennessee. Cotton, soybeans, pecan trees, and drainage channels define the landscape. It looks and feels more like the Mississippi Delta than the Ozark Hills most people associate with Missouri. A well-maintained home built around 1960 was offered for approximately $115,000. It sat on about 2 acres and included 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, roughly 1,700 square feet on the main level, and additional usable space in a converted attic. Outside, the property included a workshop, a barn with a newer roof, mature pecan trees, and a whole-house Generac generator. The generator is more than a luxury in a rural area where storms can interrupt power, and utility crews may need time to reach isolated properties. The workshop and barn create options that are difficult to find at this price. A buyer could store tools, repair machinery, operate a small woodworking space, or use the land for gardening and animals. The pecan trees might also produce a modest seasonal income. But Pemiscot County has lost roughly half of its mid-century population. Agricultural mechanization reduced the number of workers needed, and few replacement industries arrived. Healthcare access, employment, school funding, and public services have all been affected by the shrinking tax base. This property is best suited to someone whose income does not depend on the local economy. At $115,000, the house and outbuildings may offer extraordinary practical value. But the buyer must be comfortable living in a county where the economic decline is not merely temporary. Across the Mississippi River region, Phillips County, Arkansas, tells a similar story through a different town. Helena was once an important river port, with wealth commerce and impressive residential architecture. Its older neighborhoods still contain reminders of a period when residents expected the city to grow indefinitely. The King Biscuit Blues Festival continues to bring musicians and visitors into town each year. A home in one of Helena's more desirable residential areas was listed for approximately $100,000. Built in 1962, it offered nearly 1,900 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a full acre of land. The listing provided limited interior information, which means an in-person inspection would be essential. That lack of detail does not automatically indicate a problem, but buyers should avoid assuming that attractive exterior photos tell the complete story. The foundation, roof, electrical system, plumbing, HVAC, moisture levels, and insurance history would all need careful review. At this price, the home could offer solid mid-century construction, generous rooms, and far more land than a buyer would receive near Little Rock or Memphis. It might work for someone who values Delta history, river culture, and affordable living. The risk is the surrounding market. Phillips County has lost a large majority of the population it held during its peak years. Vacant storefronts, limited local employment, and persistent poverty have reduced housing demand. A buyer could purchase a lot of house for the money, but selling that house later may require patience. Affordability helps when entering a market. Weak demand matters when leaving it. The final 3 counties show that population decline is not limited to the South or Appalachia. In the American West, isolation and boom and bust industries can create a different version of the same bargain. Lander County, Nevada, covers thousands of square miles of high desert, but contains fewer than 6,000 residents. Battle Mountain. The county's best-known town sits along Interstate 80, between Reno and Salt Lake City. The surrounding landscape is wide, dry, and dramatic, with sagebrush basins beneath distant mountain ranges. A property near Battle Mountain was listed around $339,900. It included a manufactured home built in 1991 on approximately 4.65 acres. The home offered 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a dedicated office, a large, great room, expansive windows, a covered deck, and a shaded outdoor patio. The property also had mature trees, which are especially valuable in a desert setting, along with a barn loft and attached arena. For someone with horses equipment or a small agricultural operation, those structures could be worth a significant portion of the purchase price. The home office makes the property attractive to a remote worker, but dependable high-speed internet would need to be confirmed. Water supply, well-performance road conditions, insurance, and the cost of maintaining the arena should also be investigated. Lander County's economy depends heavily on mining. When gold or copper operations expand, workers arrive. When mines reduce activity, the local housing market can weaken quickly. The county also lacks major medical infrastructure, and serious healthcare needs may require a long drive. This is not the cheapest house on the list. What makes it compelling is the combination of acreage, horse facilities, dark skies, and genuine western space. Buyers searching Montana or Wyoming for a similar setup could easily face much higher prices. Speaking of Wyoming, Converse County offers a somewhat more stable version of rural western living. Douglas sits along the North Platte River in east-central Wyoming. The surrounding country consists of cattle ranches, sagebrush open plains, and distant views that seem to stretch forever. The town has a hospital and basic services, giving it an advantage over more isolated locations. A 1979 home outside Douglas was offered for approximately $300,000. It included 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, just over 1,600 square feet, and 2 acres of land. The roof had been replaced more recently, although the interior was described as needing updates. One of the most useful details was the presence of both city water and a private well. For a buyer interested in gardening animals or small-scale agriculture, that dual water access could create flexibility that many rural properties lack. The house itself may not be visually impressive in its current condition. The value lies in the acreage, utilities, newer roof, nearby services, and potential for improvement. A buyer willing to replace flooring, paint walls, update fixtures, and modernize the kitchen could create a comfortable long-term home. Converse County's economy is closely tied to oil gas ranching and other extractive industries. Those sectors can generate well-paying jobs, but they also create cycles of expansion and contraction. The population has remained relatively small and can fluctuate with energy markets. Compared with the Delta counties, Douglas offers a stronger local economy and better infrastructure. Compared with major Western destinations, it remains far more affordable. The main question is whether the open landscape feels peaceful or lonely. In Wyoming, that distinction can determine whether a person stays for 30 years or leaves after one winter. Our final county brings us back to Appalachia, and to one of the lowest-priced homes in the entire group. Knott County lies in eastern Kentucky's coal country. Roads follow narrow creeks between steep hills, and communities often occupy the small amount of usable land inside mountain hollows. Hindman. The county seat is known for the Hindman Settlement School, and its long history of preserving Appalachian literature, music, crafts, and education. In the community of Topmost, a ranch home built in 1953 was offered for approximately $130,000. It included 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, just over 1,600 square feet, and about 1.55 acres. The most interesting feature was not inside the house. The property reportedly included an additional house seat, meaning there was a second area that might be suitable for future construction. That extra site could potentially support a guest cottage, rental, home studio, workshop, or residence for an extended family member. However, a buyer would need to verify zoning, utility access, septic requirements, slope stability, and whether the site is legally buildable. The existing home appears best suited to someone who values character and potential more than modern finishes. At this price, a buyer may have room in the budget for repairs, but renovation estimates should be obtained before assuming the project will remain affordable. Knott County has been deeply affected by the decline of coal employment, persistent unemployment, population loss, and the opioid crisis. Flooding is another concern in parts of eastern Kentucky, especially for properties located near creeks or low sections of a hollow. Flood maps and insurance availability should be reviewed carefully. This is not a location for someone expecting a fast economic turnaround. It may be a fit for a buyer with family connections to the region, a remote income, or a strong desire to live quietly in the mountains. And that brings us to the truth behind every home in this video. These properties did not become affordable because sellers suddenly forgot what land is worth. They became affordable because fewer people are competing to live in these counties. The jobs left. Populations declined. Hospitals and businesses became harder to support. In many places, the local housing market weakened, even while construction costs continued rising everywhere else. That does not make these homes bad. It makes them highly specific. A 3-acre property with a heated garage in West Virginia might be perfect for a retiree who repairs classic cars. A newer home near the current river could be ideal for someone who spends more time fishing than shopping. A Nevada horse property may offer exactly the freedom one buyer wants and far more isolation than another can tolerate. Before buying any inexpensive rural property, verify the roof foundation, electrical system, plumbing, HVAC, well, septic, tank, road access, internet service, property boundaries, insurance cost, flood exposure, zoning rules, and distance to emergency medical care. Visit the area during bad weather, not only on a sunny afternoon. Drive to the nearest grocery store and hospital. Ask how long homes usually take to sell. The purchase price is only the first number. The real value depends on what the property allows you to do and what the location requires you to give up. For the right buyer, these counties may offer something that has nearly disappeared from more competitive parts of America: enough land to breathe, enough space to work, and a mortgage small enough to leave room for an actual life. For the wrong buyer, the same property could become an isolated home that is difficult to maintain and even harder to sell. Which of these counties would you seriously consider? The Missouri Ozarks, the West Virginia mountains, the Mississippi Delta, the Nevada high desert, or the open plains of Wyoming? And which location would you avoid completely? Share your choice in the comments and subscribe for more affordable American homes, farmhouses with acreage, and honest explanations of what those low prices really mean.